Hi, I'm Don Rosa. I write and draw Uncle Scrooge and Donald Duck comic books, and I'll be seeing you later on.
För riktigt sanna ankister över hela världen så är Don Rosa numera en portalfigur, för han har tagit över den legendariske Carl Barks ritstift och tecknar nu mera i samma stil som den gamla ankmästaren Joakim von Anka framförallt. Of all the characters in the Disney world of ducks, you chose to concentrate more or less on Uncle Scrooge.
On Uncle Scrooge, right.
Why is that?
There's a good reason for that, and lots of the European fans have asked me why I seem to think that Uncle Scrooge is the head of the clan and not Donald Duck. I think the reason that is I like the adventure stories more than the gag stories, which are good. Carl Barks' old gag stories were great, but I love the adventure stories. And in America, we had separate Donald Duck comic and a separate Uncle Scrooge comic, and it was in the Uncle Scrooge title that the long, exciting adventure stories were. So it was, for most Americans, it was the Uncle Scrooge title, the one that they really looked forward to. And to the Americans, that's the reason why he is the more important of the Disney ducks. I hope it's not, it may have something also to do with the money angle as far as America is concerned, but I think, at least as far as I'm concerned, it was because the great adventure stories were in the Uncle Scrooge title.
What is it that you like about the Uncle Scrooge character then?
Both Scrooge and Donald Duck are great comic book characters because they're a mixture, a balance of good qualities and bad qualities, maybe a balance of good and evil. And that always makes any character much more interesting, as opposed to Mickey Mouse, which is all just happiness and gladness and goodness. And but Uncle Scrooge fascinates me because...
Yeah, stop it! What about me? I'm famous too!
Well, and that's true, and of course this is your 60th birthday year, but...
Yes, happy birthday to me! Happy birthday to me!
Well, but in my Uncle Scrooge stories, you're more or less just a sidekick, who, like the comic relief.
I think we got rid of him. More or less. That was Donald.
Yes, I recognized it.
Yeah. But Uncle Scrooge is really greedy, isn't he?
He's greedy, yes. It's kind of a good greedy, though, I think. He, of course, always wants to beat, whether it's Flintheart Glomgold, I don't know what the Swedish name for that character is, or all the other characters that are trying to outdo him in search of some treasure or some money. But unlike those characters, Scrooge wants the money or the treasure not so much for its buying power, like a normal greedy person would, at least the way I see his character, but these are trophies to his grit and his glory, and that's why when he gets the money, he doesn't spend it like they would, like a normal greedy person would. They want the money so they can spend it. He saves all these things in his money bin so he can look back at that challenge. It's the same sort of greed that an Olympic champion might have. Is he greedy because he wants to win the gold medal and not let anybody else have it? It's trophies to Scrooge.
It's a huge pile of memories, isn't it?
It's exactly, and he can remember exactly where he earned every single coin in that bin. Right.
What about your own childhood? When did you start to get fascinated by the world of ducks?
I actually have memories of a duck fan about 10 to 11 years older than my actual years. My sister is probably greatly responsible for my interest in Carl Barks' comics. She was 11 years older than I was. In fact, she's still 11 years older than I am to this day. But when I was born, when they brought me home from the nursery, the house was filled with Dell comic books. Those are the ones that the publisher of the Disney comic books in America years ago. And so I was exposed to Carl Barks' stories of Uncle Scrooge and Donald Duck literally since birth. So that's why these characters are not like Superman or Batman or somebody I might have discovered when I was 10 or 12 years old. It's like they've always existed. They're as real to me as my parents are.
So Uncle Scrooge and the other ducks, they became your destiny, more or less.
Oh yes, I always knew that it was my manifest destiny someday to write and draw Uncle Scrooge stories. I didn't realize, if I'd have known how popular he still was in Sweden and Scandinavia and the rest of the world, I would have been working for Egmont 25 years ago probably. But as it was, I just went into the family construction business, just like these are very comfortable surroundings for me because my family owned a old well-established construction company back in Louisville, Kentucky, and so I took civil engineering in college and went into that business for about 10, 15 years.
Okay. So then again, maybe it was lucky for you that you didn't discover the great market in Europe earlier, because that might have made you greedy.
Well, no, I don't think you can ever get greedy, or nobody who is greedy would ever want to be involved in doing Walt Disney comic books, I don't think, because you know, you don't get, you never get royalties, you never sell your own artwork. You really just have to love the characters so much that you're willing to work on them and put that much effort and devotion and pride in it, regardless of the fact you're not making a lot of money at it. Well, you can barely imagine the thrill it is to be writing and drawing adventures of the characters that I was reading when I was my youngest memories, and now I can control their destiny for 25 pages in a comic book, and think about some kid is actually reading my stories the way, or even in some small part of the way I used to read the Carl Barks stories when I was growing up.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rosa. Good to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you. It was fun.